Uh-oh, Abigail's grooving it. She's into it. What do you think, Roland?
He is into it.
I mean, she doesn't want to, but she's like... I feel like it's Beavis and Butthead again. Do you know what this is, Abigail?
No.
Enter Sandman live last week at Virginia Tech. And you know what happened?
No, I do not.
They actually were so loud and it was so crazy there, an earthquake. It was measured.
Really?
This was actually a measured earthquake. That's why I have it on so low. I have this on like volume 1 right now.
Has that ever happened?
Not that I know of. So now...
Not even like a football game?
No. They were so loud. I guess it's because they had the amplifiers vibrating everything. It's shaking the ground. So now Metallica has played the largest concert ever, and they've caused an earthquake.
When was their largest?
1991 in Moscow, Russia. 1.2 million people in attendance.
Wow.
They actually shut an airport down in Moscow, and the entire airport. So think about how big an airport is. That was their concert.
Wow. So
anyway,
since I'm hosting, I'm gonna take over a little. Is that all right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just be quiet.
So welcome everybody to We Are the Crotchety Old Man and a Woman. This is our 99th episode. Do you believe that, Arden?
99 Luftballons. You probably never heard that song, did you, Roland?
I have not.
Okay.
And by the way, we do have Roland back with us tonight, and we're very, very excited. So, Arden, next week, what is it?
100th episode, live, Teaneck, New Jersey, home of the brick in the wall. That is where we're going to be. Daniel's going to be there. Alfred, Mrs. Alfred, Daniel's wife, Mr. N and his wife might be there. My mom will be there. There might be other people showing up. I don't know. Fans are invited. Come on out.
I heard that you might do the quarters challenge again, which we did probably on episode 8.
It was so early on. I got to see if I can break $2.50. We might do quarters and questions as well. We might be doing a lot of things, but there will be eating a lot. Maybe we're going to see how much Mr. N can eat compared to Alfred. Mm-hmm. Alfred may be sitting there just playing Zelda the whole day. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
All I know is that we're a podcast for you, with you, and sometimes even about you.
That we are.
There you go, Arden. I got it right.
Perfect. You get everything
and
right.
What else did I get right this week? Do you remember?
Actually, you got a lot right. She bought me some really cool clothes. That you definitely got me right.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the podcast.
Oh, yeah. She wants credit because she literally was able to get the entire podcast live on YouTube. Live on YouTube?
I don't know that it's live.
It's not yet live.
But all 98 episodes are now available on YouTube.
Yep.
At We Are a Crotchety Old Man and a Woman. Check it out.
Yep.
We have 5 subscribers.
So far.
So please go to it and subscribe and take a listen to some of our older episodes.
But you don't get to see how gorgeous Abigail is. So
no, it's only got Arden's face.
My fat face going Eikavolt. By the way, Roland, maybe he'll be on it next year. We'll just have Roland's face on and forget mine. No one wants to see my ugly mug.
So let's jump into it. We got a lot to cover.
We do. I'm putting on my spectacles. Hold on.
So we thought we'd start off with world news because a lot's been happening.
A lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, let's start with India versus Pakistan.
Okay, so first of all, big news right off the bat today that they signed a ceasefire already. Trump actually was calling both countries, and it's absolutely unique. Because these two countries have hated each other since after World War II. And if you don't know anything about the two, it's pretty much divided by religion. That's really what separates it. The Muslims are primarily in Pakistan, and everyone else is in India. India has got a lot of religions. And so that's really what they're separated in. And they fight over like land pretty much, and this has been going on since Gandhi. But anyway, sorry, trying to make a long story short. They right now kind of have peace. They're also both have nuclear weapons, so we don't want that escalating. Now, real quick story. In my office, we actually have a bunch of Indian people and a bunch of Pakistani people, and my boss comes over and goes, I hope this doesn't escalate. I don't know what to do if they start actually fighting with each other in the lounge. That would be weird. Because what happens? I mean, they're all like, they're from those countries, like first generation.
I know I would be pretty angry if I was in the same room with somebody that that we were at war with.
Wait, my relatives are possibly being killed by their relatives? You might actually be saying full on Donnybrooks. They're going to drop the gloves. No 10-minute minors there. They don't get fired, but I ain't getting in the wrong.
Well, we'll have to see if that escalates.
Exactly. Stay tuned.
And of course, Israel's being bashed. And why is that?
Because they have decided that they are going to go and take over all of Gaza. They've had enough. The last, I believe it was 52 hostages were still left, and they're not going to get them. They're not going to get them back. They're probably all dead at this point. So they've decided, you know what, why are we dealing with this? Every time there's a ceasefire, eventually Hamas starts shooting rockets into Israel again. They just can't help themselves. Just stop. But so they're not going to stop. Israel's just decided they're going to take over Gaza. And what they're going to do is everyone will leave, and they can come back if they agree to certain restrictions. Mm-hmm. But they might actually keep it forever. And then Trump will literally build it all up and they'll put, what are the plants called that take salt water out of the ocean? Something.
I have no idea.
I was about to say dysentery, but it's not. Distillation plants, I think, where Israel has those. That's why they have water, believe it or not, because it's a desert. So they'll put them right there. They'll bring it in. They'll have farmland. Boom. It'll be a beautiful place to live. But a lot of people are angry. Anyway.
Well, Trump got a win with the Ukraine. They signed the mineral rights deal.
Yeah, Roland, what did you think of that?
I thought it was crazy.
You thought it was crazy. So what's really smart is now it'll put American lives down there. Mm-hmm. So where they're going. So Russia is not going to attack those areas.
Let's hope not.
Well, they can't. That would be the dumbest thing. I mean, Putin would end his life immediately, especially with Trump in office. One American gets hurt, that's it for them. So, and then we'd be dead too. But that would be a whole other situation. So, mineral rights, very, very, very important.
So, what do you think about what's going on down in Mexico with their president and the cartels?
Okay, so first of all, I have to admit, I was very naive to the president. When I first heard her name, I thought they were talking about something else, because her name is Gloria. They keep saying Gloria Scheinbaum. I thought they had a Jewish president for some reason, and like I was very like a white Jewish president. And then her last name actually is Prada, so she actually is Hispanic. But when they said Gloria Scheinbaum, I'm like, that doesn't make sense for the president of Mexico. Well, but anyway.
It's an interesting question, you know?
Yeah, so the whole thing is about the cartels. Now, I did not know this until honestly recently. So when the El Chapo's son, when he was accidentally arrested, they weren't targeting him. They just did a mass sweep and broke into an area, and they took prisoners. They didn't realize El Chapo's son was one of them. But what El Chapo did is he actually was able to order the assassination of almost all of the police that arrested this guy. All the families were killed. Over 700 people were killed.
Roland, brutal. The cartels are brutal.
They don't mess around. Like basically they'll have 7 men and they'll have 6 machetes and say whoever lives will be part of our cartel.
Yeah, and
that was normal for them.
But Trump offered, right?
Yeah.
He offered to send some troops down there.
He offered to send our Marines in to actually take them over, and the president of Mexico did decline. Now, it's one of those toss-ups because the cartels are in the U.S., and they are a military organization. They are not like I mean, please don't get mad at me, the mafia of New York, but like they're not the mafia. These guys are, I mean, they're a military unit, all of them. So they have military weapons, they have drones, and they have the drones that are being used in wars all over the world. They have rockets.
It's just one of those damned if you do and damned if you don't situations, but at very high stakes.
Mhm.
So, Roland, what do you think? Would you allow the U.S. troops to go, or should they hold back?
I would let them.
Let them go in,
Yes,
Wow.
blow those mothers up, just start shooting everybody.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I think
nice.
that would be wonderful. I just have some concerns with that.
Would you put on like what's a Ride of the Valkyries and come flying in with the Apache helicopters, like a little Apocalypse Now? Did you ever see that movie Apocalypse Now?
I haven't.
Oh, so like you'll get jacked up in 2 seconds when that music hits. Dun, 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 and you see all the helicopters coming in. Dun, 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 and then the rockets go off and they're blowing up the Viet Cong. Anyway,
Well,
sorry.
Let's go back to the country that counts, and that is the
USA. USA. USA.
Yes, I am an American snob, and I have to say a quick story. Back when Obama won, back in, was it 2008?
Yeah.
I was in a car with a foreign exchange student from New Zealand, and she made the comment that, quote, the United States needed Obama. And I said,
Ow.
why is that? And she said, because Americans thinks that, they're so great. And I said, we are great. And I told her, why don't you go back to New Zealand and count some sheep?
Ow! Whoa!
I was furious.
You literally said, go count some sheep.
How do you say something like that in front of an American?
Because everyone hates America because we have everything. We have everything.
Well, a lot of people don't hate America. They immigrate from everywhere to come, legally and illegally. So we must be doing something right.
Which is amazing because if we were such a bad country, why the hell aren't they leaving? You're right. They don't. I mean, like we're literally having to fly them back and putting them in prisons, and we're getting yelled at. If we're so evil, if we're the worst country on earth, why are they coming here?
So
I don't know.
Trump had a lot of big hits for the week. Not necessarily wins, but big hits. And one of them was the announcement that he would like to resurrect Alcatraz.
Fascinating. So, by the way, did you even know that Alcatraz actually was a fort originally?
I did.
Oh, look at you! Nice. Woo!
I did know that.
History nerd. Yeah, so it was a fort actually because you controlled Alcatraz. So there used to be cannons on it and all that other stuff. Then they turned it into a prison. But here's the problem: we're running out of prison space for supermax prisons. So that's why. But do you know why they shut it down?
No.
They were losing so much money on it. So that's a problem. Can they open it? And I mean, I love it. There's sharks and the water is cold. So the odds of you being able to swim in that water with the sharks,
How about that movie with Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
One of the best movies ever.
it's so good. And with the doll heads and the real hair that they got.
It's just incredible.
And they never found out if those guys actually lived or not.
Yeah, Roland, I think you're a little too young, but it was a great movie about the potential escape from Alcatraz. It was based on a true story, and it's got a lot of controversy because did one of them make it to land?
Yep,
We
they don't
don't
know.
know. We
No
don't
one
know
knows
to
because the
this day.
bodies were never discovered,
That's
and
right.
the inmates who escaped have never come forward. So
And,
we don't know.
Yeah, so guess what, Arden?
What?
While there seemed to be no hope, we now have an American Pope.
Oh, look at you. You're rhyming.
I am.
An American Pope.
I mean, even though it's not a win for Trump, the reality is now we have an American Pope. We have the World Cup coming. We have Olympics coming. And you mentioned to me today that the NFL draft in 2027 is going to be here in the U.S. Where at?
Washington, D.C. on the mall. Outside.
Wow.
Yep. USA. USA. Except the Pope actually has dual citizenship with Peru. But we're not going to talk about that. He's just an American. I mean, I was playing some music. I was like, I am a real American. Fight for my. You can stop me at any time. Fight for my.
Well, let's talk about some bullshit justice, and that
Ooh.
starts off with Leticia James. And if everyone doesn't remember, she's the Attorney General from New York that literally went after Trump. She campaigned that she was her own the only focus she had was to get Donald Trump.
That was it.
And what did she nail him on?
A fake charge that didn't exist. That the jury, there was about 10 different charges, and they just had to pick a couple, and then they
Right.
were guilty. But it was all about they devalued Mar-a-Lago. Not they. One of the judge actually said that Mar-a-Lago was actually worth less money than Donald Trump was putting on his forms,
Yeah,
and
it
for
had-
tax purposes.
It had all to do with loans.
Yeah.
Okay, banking loans.
Yep.
And
That he paid
whenever
back.
you want to get a loan, especially in the business world, you have to show how much things are worth. And they accused him of inflating numbers and getting favorable loans. Not
Yep.
even favorable, just getting loans. And the reality is, he paid them.
Yep.
It's not as though he didn't pay the loans.
Yep.
And there were witnesses that said that, but in the end, he was convicted. But now what's going on is back at you, Leticia.
Yep. So the FBI is now officially investigating. So now it's real. And she had, I mean, I know Abigail, there's a whole bunch in it, but going back to Trump real fast, like they actually said Mar-a-Lago was worth $18 million.
Mm-hmm.
The house next door to it, was actually worth $27 million.
Just the house.
Just the
not-
house.
Not a campus.
Not a huge campus. It's estimated to be $100 million plus. And they said, no. The value was only about 18 million.
Right.
So, but anyway, so Leticia James, literally, she had property in Virginia that her father/husband,
she listed her father as her husband.
ew,
She also said it would be her primary residence when it was really an investment property.
and that,
Now-
by the way, to be the Attorney General of New York, you cannot have another residence
Correct.
as your official residence.
But I have bought an investment property with the intention of it being an investment property. And when we closed, I had to attest that it was going to be a rental property. Because you have to declare that because your loan may be a quarter point higher because it is going to be a rental property. So that was strike one against her, which is pretty substantial. Strike two is she had a was it 5-unit?
a 5-unit, and
Yeah,
she
she
said
had
that.
a 5-unit building that she was going to be, getting renewed for a mortgage, and she filed that it was only a 4-unit building, and she got a more favorable loan for it.
Yep.
So it's essentially mortgage fraud, and they should throw the frickin' book at her, and of course MSNBC and all of them are going to say he's doing it, he's doing retribution. Well, you know what, he should.
But it's not fake. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's not even fake. Like, it's not like he's making something up like they did.
Well, whatever happened to that other clown, Fanny?
Fanny.
Fanny.
I don't know. I mean, there was something like she might be losing her license where, like, she had to dump her boyfriend, who was also on the case. Then there was just like that fell through. I don't even remember. Like, they're all a bunch of
Here's
scumbags.
the latest
Oh.
useless idiot.
When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, let me tell you something.
Unbelievable.
When
That's
I
all we
walk
gotta
in, I'm
hear,
gonna
right?
walk in-
Yep. And who is that?
That would be Jasmin Crocket from the great state of Texas.
Not Davy Crockett from Tennessee.
No.
Okay.
But what a tool. What a tool.
And she's becoming a bigger tool now. She wants to be AOC because she's seeing the money AOC is making. By the way, you see AOC's worth $24 million now?
I believe it.
Not bad for. And by the way, also, just speaking of AOC, this just popped in. When is that 7 years where the Earth is going to be melted the ice caps?
7 years from today is my understanding.
Now, wasn't it like 7 years ago?
Oh.
Or 10 years ago
Well, I
she made
thought
that statement?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's an idiot, and I hope she does run
Yeah.
for president.
So Crocket is making money hand over fist because she's a liar. And now we find out she actually admits she was a DEI hire.
Well, I mean, Kamala needs to admit it too.
Well, she also did some extracurricular activities to get promoted.
Right, but she was a total DEI hire for the vice presidency of the United States.
Right. And if you want to know what extracurricular are, please look it up. Do not ask me. You can ask Roland. He knows.
And then there was that mayor clown.
Oh, my God. Oh, hold on. I got to even make sure I have his name correct. The mayor of Newark, New Jersey. Way to go, New Jersey. Ross Baraka. Anyway, so he's the mayor of New Jersey, goes to a detention center, and he wants justice. He wants to meet with the poor people who were discriminated against, even though they were here illegally. So ICE literally is saying, you know what? Please go home, sir. Please go home, sir. Please go home, sir. This is not he literally wanted to interject himself. Kind of like, remember the original Fences, Kids in Cages back in the day? Well, well, guess what? You know what they did, Roland? ICE had enough. They arrested him. They put him in cuffs and arrested him. And Tom Holman.
Wait a minute. He was assaulted.
Yes, he probably was assaulted. He's an asshole. I mess that joke up. But anyway, so Tom Holman is going to not prosecute him, but he's actually putting in charges and he wants him arrested.
Listen, it's all about grandstanding with the Democrats, and the American people see through it.
Yes.
They do.
Well, did you see? Did you see when they were sitting last weekend? Did you see when they were sitting on the House of the Capitol and they were singing and just what a bunch of I almost said the R word, and I'm not allowed to say that anymore. But a bunch of buttheads. How about that?
That's fine.
I can say buttheads. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drop another F-bomb. I got criticized, Ronald.
So there's
Roland.
a lot
I don't even know
going
your
on.
name anymore.
There's a lot
For
going
chicken too
on
much.
with the HSA and starting off with the NIH. What's going on over
Oh,
there?
really cute. So, okay.
Cute.
No, hold on. Hey, so for years, if you're a dog fan, and I was not a dog fan until I actually now have two little puppy dogs, and you all have seen them on X, yeah, Toto and Benji. Benji was at the vet today, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so they use Beagles. Why Beagles? I don't know. Cutest little puppy dogs ever, and they were experimenting on Beagles at the NIH, and officially that has ended. No more experimenting on Beagles.
That's been happening forever.
It has been, and they finally stopped it. Now, I wonder what other ugly dog they're using or something else, but I don't know. Hopefully it's lizards.
Yeah.
Abigail hates lizards.
Yeah, lizards or snakes.
And the snakes, which I have not seen the snake, but Abigail saved me from a bee today. Just want to let you know.
Yeah.
I had a bee.
He was like a child.
I am allergic to bees, and there was a bee on my shoulder, and I just froze. And Abigail was like, "Oh, you're such a child," and she scared it away.
Well, I came across a very interesting story that I'm somewhat familiar with the concept, but HSA has halted work at a lab up in Frederick, Maryland, called Fort Detrick. They're shutting it down, at least for now, due to safety concerns.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a lab that works with Ebola,
Yep.
COVID,
Mm-hmm.
anthrax,
Anthrax.
and other very, very deadly pathogens.
And elephantitis. And I know that, no, I do know that is true because I had to hire somebody for that.
Well, one of the incidents is pretty fascinating. Basically, there was a lover spat between two of the employees that worked in the lab, and they all had to wear special suits called PPE, personal protective equipment. And those suits are stored in lockers, and they change into them before they head into the lab. Well, two lovers got in a spat, and one of them actually poked needle holes into the suit so that when her lover or ex-lover went to go into the lab, they would have been exposed potentially and could have started another plague.
Typical. That's how the zombie virus starts.
This occurred under Biden's watch and nothing was done.
Yep. And so neither one of them were fired.
Yes. The individual that did it was fired.
Oh, okay. So that person was fired, but we still have no idea about the Wuhan virus in China.
That's right.
That actually, yeah. Remember being called a racist? You can't call it the China virus. The China virus.
Well, since we're talking about Biden, what'd you think? He went on The View this week.
I mean, like, by the way, the fact, well, I'll talk about that later, but he's a tool. I mean, he's an old man.
I mean, he kept squinting his eyes and couldn't answer the main question. He couldn't answer it. So his wife had to, Dr. Jill had to step in and save him.
It was bad.
Joe worked so hard.
Yeah.
He would work while I was going to bed. He would be working.
I just don't like all the cowards who are now writing books. These are the people who worked with him and for him, and now they're writing books. Where were they saving the country? And we still don't know who was running the country. Was it Dr. Jill? Was it, by the way, she's not a real
There
actual
should be an
doctor.
all-out investigation by the press, and they're not doing anything.
No, they can't, because that was their guy. The press sucks. Everyone sucks.
And I was telling you about Michelle Obama's podcast and how it's just awful and it stinks. But
I think we have more listeners.
She actually went online this week and threw it down and said that being the first family isn't all that, because not everything was paid for.
Right.
They had to buy their own food. They had other curricular monetary obligations, so to speak. But she actually complained that it cost her family money to be in the White House.
Right.
And, what is it, $400,000?
Yeah, the president gets $400,000
a year. And after they go out of office, they get that for the rest of their lives. The $400,000 salary.
Correct.
Well, the word on the street is the Bidens are panicking.
Right.
They're running out of money.
Right. Well, it's not easy. I mean, they've been sucking on the proverbial teat, look at that, of the American people for so long that and all of their scams are gone, where they're getting millions, and Hunter Biden has no money. And it's like they're
He's
desperate.
$15 million in debt.
He is. I mean, Roland, could you survive on $400,000 a year?
I don't know.
I think you would. No, you don't know. Wow.
I genuinely don't really know.
$400,000 a year. What's the average salary in America right now?
Around 60 to 80.
Really, in this area, yeah. I think it's actually more like 35 to 40,000 in America.
You feel like an idiot for saying I don't know.
No, you're not an idiot. I mean, it shocks me that these people. But by the way, do you know why they even get that money for life?
No.
Harry Truman. 2 quick facts, useless facts that you need to know. Harry Truman literally was the first. He actually left the presidential office broke. He had no money. Now, he's the president. You can't have your president on the streets with no money. So that actually passed, and that became a law that presidents will get their salary for life. But since Truman, do you know who was the only president to ever lose money since being in the White House?
Donald J. Trump.
Boom! He originally, before he entered the White House, he actually, his valued was $9 billion. He is now down to $8 billion. So he's losing money because he doesn't take any money and he can't claim what he's doing. They're not allowed to do anything. And of course, but the kids who run the company, they're allowed to do whatever they want. And they wanted to do some buildings, and people were protesting that the kids they build. Like they want to invest in the areas. And so they're actually moving forward with their business. And people in the news are now saying they can't. They should not be allowed to do their business either. The entire family. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Hunter Biden goes and just gets money from everyone. Unbelievable.
It is.
The hypocrisy. By the way, what would I do with $400,000? $400,000.
I would do a lot with it.
Abigail would be very happy if my job paid me $400,000. I mean, it'd be nice. I'd have a nice truck right now. Big ass truck. Big ass Trump flag in the back.
Would you buy me an Amazon truck?
No, I would buy you drones. They would just land and just drop stuff and fly away. But you know what? I mean, I would. Okay, I'm talking directly to Roland. You can't see me. I would have a big ass truck, big ass Trump flags, and even though I'm not a Leonard Skinner fan, I'd be playing Freebird and just driving in New Jersey all around North Jersey into like New York City. People would hate me. Anyway, I've lost my mind.
Next up is the Trump orb. Now, we've had one listener tell us it
Yeah.
wasn't that great. But this past week, we got some feedback. And who was that, Arden?
I don't want to say. I'm not
Okay.
gonna put them under the
Well,
bus.
They said they missed Trump orb, so we're bringing it back. So, Arden, you're up first.
Oh, really? Do you have your Trump orb handy? I usually am the guy who rubs the orb. But okay. Trump orb. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel?
No.
Oh! Oh, that was a kick to the groin, Roland. Hopefully he does it later.
All right,
Oh,
Roland,
damn
you're
it.
up.
Will Arden ever let me speak?
It looks like it could happen.
Maybe one day. I don't mean to talk too much. I'm sorry.
I have to admit, I did not think about my Trump orb question, so I'm a little stuck here, but I just watched my Capitals lose, so Trump orb. Will the Capitals come back to win the series?
Absolutely, 100%.
Wow.
Wow.
That's defiant.
That is awesome. That's
Huh.
just what I wanted to hear.
That's a bunch of horse hockey.
So
Okay.
we're going to end with Roland's random thought. And what is that?
About a week ago or so, May 1st, I came across on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, that SpongeBob turned 26 years old.
No way.
Wow.
26.
Yeah, that's
So what year was that?
1999.
Oh. Wow.
1999.
And me, I was born in 2000, so it's crazy to think that's older than me.
SpongeBob is older than you. He's like, so it's 26
I can
years.
say that I did miss out. I didn't have to do that with you boys, but I got a big taste of the Wiggles. Thomas the Train. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
I do. I do.
And I remember Power Rangers, which
Go,
was the
go,
biggest
Power
scam. Biggest
Ranger.
scam. They had the figurines and they had their little uniforms on. Well, once they kind of died out as a fad, they'd bring them all back. Same figurines, just different colors and different outfits. And I had to buy them all over again.
Wow. I mean, you had to. I mean, at least you didn't get stuck with Dora the Explorer. Oh my God! My nieces would always watching Dora the Explorer, and they were learning Spanish, so that was okay. But I just felt bad. Swiper never got to swipe everything. The stupid map was always in the backpack. I mean, I hated that show.
So, Roland, do you have some memories you want to bring up of what your favorites were? You had
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, but I know you like the Thomas the Trains.
Oh, I was also really into Beyblades when I was young.
Beyblades?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember those. Those were the spinning things, right?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with those with my brother and my friends. I would have friends over. We'd be playing Beyblades for hours. They also had a TV show too. for
Oh,
Beyblades.
really?
Yeah.
They did?
Yeah. I
Wow.
really liked
Didn't
that
know
too. And
Huh.
I can't remember like how or why or how old I was when I lost interest in it finally.
Huh.
Did you ever watch Monster Trucks? My nephew was huge into monster trucks for about a year. So we had to buy him all these monster trucks. And his favorite was Backwards Bob.
Backwards Bob.
Yes, the car actually, was it a car or was it a truck? I think it was like a truck, but the engine was forwards and the truck was facing backwards. So that was a weird one. But he had a video game, my nephew. It was a brilliant concept that I don't know if it was a show, but you actually had to buy pieces to actually get further into the game. And like there was big pieces, little pieces, and he always gave me the rabbit. I had a rabbit.
How about the Transformers? Did you guys play with those?
Yes, actually. I also really liked the Transformer movies when I was young.
Did you ever see the original Transformer movie?
Uh, yes, actually.
Came out in 86.
1986.
1986.
Wow.
I was an usher, and so like that was one of I saw it like I don't know 180 times, but that was actually good. That was a good movie, and that was the same time when they had the GI Joe show. Did you watch GI Joe, the animated show?
No, I did not.
That was an interesting one because that actually was they when it came on. Another useless fact. So the GI Joe animated show, you couldn't show anyone getting killed. So they had the bad guys who were Cobra, and then you had G.I. Joe and all those. They'd be shooting at each other with red lasers because you couldn't show bullets. And they would like jump out of the truck. No one ever got hit. But they found the way around it. You can kill insects and you can kill robots. So they would have robots come and then they could blow up. Or they would have insects get killed.
What I remember
Useless.
now is, Roland, didn't you like Bob the Builder Man?
I did.
Yeah, well, I loved it so much.
Bob
Their
the
opening song
Builder.
was Mambo Number 5. And I, to this day, have it on my iTunes.
Can you sing it?
And I never, no, I don't sing.
Oh, come on.
And you shouldn't either. So, anyway,
so mean.
I'm driving home from the beach with my sister, and it comes up, Bob the Builder Man, Mambo Number 5. And she just laughed her ass off because she couldn't believe that I'm over 50 years old and I have that song on my iTunes.
I think that's awesome. I mean, I don't know how many shows I have from. I don't have iTunes, but like, I mean, all the shows that I love, I still watch them. I still can.
And the sad part, Roland, is that, all of you grew up and it was so much fun to buy you guys toys and gifts. But now, let's face it, you only want cash.
Yeah,
It's the easiest
that's what
thing.
happens as you growing up as you get older, I guess.
Yeah.
I miss it. I used to have to watch movies ahead of time to see if they were okay. So like Shrek, I had to watch Shrek before my nephew was allowed to watch Shrek to see if it was too violent or if Shrek was too potty mouthish. So if he had like fart jokes and stuff. And so, because my sister-in-law back then, she was a little harder on the kids. But think about that. So I had to watch all the movies ahead. Not like I cared, but because it was bad. There was a movie with The Rock, Escape to Witch Mountain, the remake. It was terrible. But my sister-in-law was a little nervous because like all the police had guns and stuff when they were chasing the kids, and I was like apologizing again and again. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Don't let Uncle Arden, pick the movies because I mean I'm like, all right, let's go watch Star Wars Day One. Let's go watch Jaws. Come on, kids.
Yeah.
You're old enough, and then we'll go swimming.
Oh, and one of your aunts swore no guns, no toy guns, no Nerf guns, no nothing. Well, that changed pretty quickly, and it was all about guns.
Yeah.
So, the parents lighten up as the kids get a little older.
Right, because that at the beginning you got to baby them, and
Yeah.
you're trying to do your best. So what was your like? Do you have like a favorite show that you used to watch as a kid,
I would say,
or a couple if you don't have like one main favorite?
I mean, SpongeBob, like we already talked about. Also, Drake and Josh. I love that.
Oh, okay.
Really? Never heard of it.
Really? That was on Disney Channel
I think it was
or Nickelodeon?
Teen Nick. I think it was. Or was it Nickelodeon? I can't remember which one it was on.
What
Oh.
was it about?
I've
I've never heard of it.
I heard of it and I don't know anything about it.
It's just they're step siblings, Drake and Josh. They're step siblings, or siblings, whatever you want to say. Just episodes, just every episode was not related to the other, so
Okay.
you could pick a random episode and just see,
Watch it.
know
It's
what's going
Kind of
on.
like South Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. So I do remember my sister-in-law bringing home the South Park movie, and she asked me, "Is it acceptable for the kids?" I think my jaw hit the floor. I was speechless. I was like, "Hell no!" They actually have a thing saying how much they curse in it. Like that was one of the funniest things they've ever done in a movie is like how many times they can curse in a TV show because South Park broke all the rules and I couldn't let my nieces and nephew watch that. I didn't want to get them into trouble. But yeah, the South Park movie they weren't allowed to watch any of that stuff. And I was sad that they didn't like any of the kids stuff that I liked Did you ever watch The Princess Bride?
Yes, I did, and I actually liked it.
My nieces hated it.
Why?
I was like, that's such a fun movie. They did not like it. They hated it. My nephew hated the Star Wars movies. He hated the Lord of the Rings movies. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you?
What do they like?
I don't know. I mean, he didn't like superhero. No, he liked the Superhero Squad. I think that was called. Where they were all like kids almost. I don't remember.
So, Roland, we want to thank you for joining us as we close out. We're almost there to our 100th episode. But it was great to be with you on the 99th.
Yeah, I had a good
99.
time.
And you'll be back on episode 101 because we can't figure out how to get him into the car. But so we got a little Sandman going again. And here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah. By the way, this is the same concert at Virginia Tech with the actual, I don't know what it's called when you...
Seismic graph.
Yeah, the seismic graph of when they actually registered. It's pretty cool.
So, everyone, remember to go to YouTube.
Hold on, let me load this up.
Talk to the old man and a woman. And subscribe.
And if I keep listening to this and start dancing, I'm going to cause a seismic. It'll be like a level 2 earthquake, especially if I fall down.
All right, everyone. We look forward to listening or seeing you next week, I should say.
Oh, yeah, next week, 100th anniversary. It's going to be awesome.